Hello, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I'd like to talk about inner conversations or mental diet. So first of all, definitely go to the website sovereignmind.com and register for my email list to get unlisted videos and other content. So mental diet or inner conversation. So manifesting is when you impress something upon the subconscious mind. It then manifests in the screen of space. So when we define the end result of exactly what we want, when we know what we want and we've defined what it would be like if we had that, if we imagine that scene in our imagination in first person point of view, as if we already had it, that is when it will impress on the subconscious and manifest in this world. But there's another way to manifest, and that is specifically through our mental diet. So mental diet works extraordinarily well because you act as if you're in first person point of view and you're impressing on your subconscious mind with words. And words are extremely powerful and creative. And if you've seen my video on scripting, then you know exactly why. But basically, just to be very clear, an inner conversation is a conversation that you're carrying on with yourself inside your head. We do this every single day. You can drive down the street and look at everyone. They're all carrying mental conversations on. And their mental conversations are actually what is shaping their life more than anything else. See, we are always manifesting. We manifest from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. And we either manifest through our thoughts, our inner conversations, or imaginal acts or beliefs and assumptions. So most of the time, we're not daydreaming or imagining, but instead we're having little conversations inside of our mind. Even our thoughts, if we pay attention to them, they are in the form of words. And as scripture says, the word became flesh and dwelt within us, right? So the word is manifested. When we write words, when we speak words, when we think words, they all become impressed upon the subconscious mind and manifested in the world. So when it comes to changing our inner conversations to fit what it would be like if we already had what we wanted, basically what we have to do is first, number one, is define exactly what we want. So once we define exactly what we want, the next thing we want to do is construct some sort of inner conversation or idea of what it would be like, what we would be thinking, or what we would be saying to other people if we were now the person that we want to be. So most of the time when we're having these little thoughts or conversations, if you've ever noticed, when you're angry at someone or when you're upset at someone, you often carry on arguments inside your mind. And these arguments continuously manifest in reality. So I know for my sake, when I used to work at a job, I had a boss and I did not like him. I could not stand him. And so what I was doing all day long was arguing with him in my mind. And all my friends that I've talked to, they all knew that he would always give me a hard time. But I had one friend who I spoke to, and she said, dude, you're arguing in your mind. And I was, absolutely. And so when I changed the conversations to fit what I wanted them to be, he changed completely. Instead of arguing and telling him about himself, I was talking about happy things, peaceful things, joyous things, him congratulating me on my work and me accepting that and thanking him for being such an awesome person. So we don't have to just use this for our relationships with people. We can use this to manifest whatever it is that we want. So when you define what you want, if you want a raise, if you want a new car, if you want a vacation, if you want love, what you can do is define a scene that would imply that, an imaginal scene in your mind that would imply that you are already that person. So a conversation, right? So maybe having a conversation with a loved one or a trusted friend. Now, it's very important to use a loved one or a trusted friend because when you have a conversation with them, you know that it's true and serious and it's not, it's just serious and truth, okay? So you choose someone you care about and you go on in your mind the conversation that you would have if you had what you wanted, right? So yeah, I'm so glad I had this, I got this, I went on this vacation. I'm so glad I already went on that vacation. That was the best vacation in the world and or that I've ever been on. And then them responding to you, yes, you look so happy. That those pictures that you took look amazing. That's awesome. So we create conversations like this, and then we play them in our mind with clear and concise thought, clarity of thought. And what happens is we will start to see the bridge of incidents with just as much power and force of an imaginal act of imagining the end. You can completely change your entire life because, like I said, we are always thinking and we're always manifesting. And so if we begin to change our thoughts to what we would want to experience, then that will happen. So our mental diet is essentially what we feed our mind. If we define various things that we would like to experience, instead of thinking about the drudgeries of the day or how bad this thing happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow, we specifically plan out we plan our desires, right? I often map out what I want, my desires, different desires. I'll map them out so I have things that I can think of on a regular basis. Now, what we want to watch out for is continuously polluting our thoughts with negative thoughts because those will continuously manifest. Now, you can get a good idea of how your mental diet is by what's going on around you. What happened to you today? Was it positive? Was it negative? Did something go terribly wrong? Did something go awesomely right? Look at another person, for instance. What is their state of affairs? How are they? What's going on in their life? Are they happy? Are they miserable? Are they lucky? Are they unlucky? We can tell what another person is thinking by the events that happen to us. And so if we're unsure of what our mental diet is bringing us, look at the world. Look at what's going on around you. You cannot encounter anything in this world unless you have first planted it as a seed in your mind. So whatever the fruits of your mind are existing in this world right now. So if you notice things that you do not like, if you want specific things, if you want that vacation, if you want money, if you want freedom from debt, if you want that boyfriend or girlfriend, what you do is define a conversation, like I said, as if you already had it. You have a mental conversation as if you already had it, right? So again, the first thing is defining the desire. The second thing is outlining it. And the third is putting it into practice. So putting it into practice just basically means guarding our thoughts. What are you thinking about? Right? And you'll know when a manifestation is coming, more or less, when your mental diet is more or less in relation or related to your manifestation, right? So for me particularly, when I plant a seed, okay, the other day, I imagined that I would get this TSA pre-check thing, and so I can get online in the airport faster. Now, I took this application. It was taking a long time for it to come because I have a lengthy history of, I moved a lot of times, and my past is not as white as snow, so to speak. So what I did was I took this website where my application status is on there, and I imagined, first of all, reading the successful outcome. And then after that, I had inner conversations talking with my mother about how I had been approved and my sister about how I'd been approved. Now, immediately the next day, I had received an email that they had completed my process. And I looked on the website and they're sending me the mail. So I know that by reading, first of all, the application process that I had created, right? The positive outcome, like, congratulations, Joseph Alai, you have been accepted for TSA pre-check, and all these short, brief details. I had read it like 7 times, and then in my mind after, I had a mental conversation with my mother and my sister about how I had been approved. And then the next day I went on. Now, this was after 4 weeks or so of not having my application checked at all. The next day I went on and they said that they have reviewed my application and they're sending me a letter. So I have no question or no doubt that I've been approved, even despite my history, right? So when we define our outcomes as we want them, as if it's already happened. The end is so critical. We define what we want, we plan a scene that implies that we're now that person, or we create an inner conversation with ourselves and we carry that on throughout the day, right? We can do it for a little bit a day. We can do it a couple days in a row. It doesn't take long to plant a seed, so we don't have to be obsessive. We don't have to constantly do it until the manifestation unfolds. We just have to do it enough for it to feel pretty crystal clear in our mind till it feels real. And then we know that it's sure to come. Just like me, I know it's sure to come. There's no question that my manifestation has been set into motion. So definitely guard your inner conversations, guard your thoughts, don't feed your mind. Words are extremely powerful, and if you use this for your benefit, you will have amazing results. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, register for my mailing list at sovereignmind.com, and read my blog. It has some awesome stuff on there, and stay tuned for more. Thank you.